What happens when a murder hobo encounters a lovely elderly couple? Let me describe the situation. 1 year ago, after my friends and I were introduced to D&D with the group's only experienced DM, she invited me to DM a couple of sessions since she wanted to play too. I happily agreed and got to work. Drew them a map, wrote some outlines, and even homebrewed a couple of enemies. Basically just reskinning Monster Manual monsters with tiny edits. Now for this campaign, we had added a friend who hadn't played the previous sessions. He chose to be a Dragonborn Paladin, but wanted to be chaotic evil. Not knowing what a bad idea evil characters are in an otherwise neutral and good party, I agreed and kinda helped him make a sort of dark paladin, with loyalty to some horrible aberration of a god. First mistake, the rest of the party was level 3/4, so I just made him level 3 as well. We kick it off with them arriving at a town attached to a prominent abbey, which handled pretty much all of the governance for the town. The monk guards take close note of their entry as they are bearing a VIP invite to the village's upcoming spring festival. The party's mission is to steal a book from the abbey's maze-like library and get it to their employer, a duke. The other 3 members of the party opt to ask around town for information about the monks and the festival, but Paladin immediately splits off. I let him. Second mistake. Paladin walks right up to the monks at the town chapel and starts asking about the library and their most valuable books. Then follows it up by asking to join their religion. They're obviously sketched out and don't let him in. By this point, I can see he's getting frustrated with me. He then decides he needs a safe house of sorts and that the inn will not do. So Paladin decides to break into a house and murder whoever is inside. I try to dissuade him by describing a lovely old couple talking about their grandnephew over tea, but he persists. And again, I guess, I let him kill them, figuring it's better that he faces consequences than shutting him down. Third mistake. A few in-game hours later, the murder is noticed and the guards are on high alert. Suspicion obviously falls on the newcomers to town, and Paladin is confronted by 4 guards. Instead of talking, he tries to take on the 4 of them while the rest of the party is elsewhere. He uses his breath weapon, which does a fair amount of damage, but the guards manage to seize him anyway. The other players are a little irked now, since their cover is basically blown and the guards are searching for them. Now they have to stage a jailbreak, which is at least exciting. Paladin is sulking, huffing and puffing as the party is playing while he's jailed. He gets snappy with me and the other players. The session ends as the rest of the party successfully breaks into the monastery to free him, and we run out of time. It's pretty clear right then that nobody liked the session that much, and I'm bummed out. Afterwards, Paladin confronts me. I tell him I can't simply let random killings go without consequence, and he says fine, but accuses of me of making the guards too tough. I tell him that they were straight from the Monster Manual and that generally a 4v1 goes poorly. He's still insisting I should have let him mow down some weak town guards. I was breathing thunder. How could that not kill them all? To which I told him, look, if a level 3 rando could just walk into town and mow down guards, there wouldn't be much of a point in having guards at all. This isn't about you living out a power fantasy, Besides, you can't be out there causing mayhem while the rest of the party is trying to engage with the story. It won't work. But that's the entire point of the game. If you were a better DM, you could have me do what I want and still have the story work. At this point, I say, yeah, I guess it's because I'm new, and walked away. I have to give it to him. I was a bad DM. It was definitely because I let him do things that ruined the experience for others. Needless to say though, Paladin was not invited to D&D again. We restarted the story with the rest of the group and we ended up having a pretty good time. The small campaign morphed into a long-term campaign which is still ongoing, and I ended up learning a fair bit about problem players and what not to do just from that guy. OP is not a bad DM. New DMs make mistakes, but that doesn't make them necessarily bad. You only become bad when you never learn from your mistakes and never change for the better. It's not your fault when someone tries to take advantage of your newness. I was reading a little further down in the comments on Reddit and found out that Paladin is in the police academy. So yeah, good luck out there. What do you all think about this situation?